All right, welcome. Here we are at Stinson Municipal Airport, just outside San Antonio, right on the southern outskirts of San Antonio, Texas. Don't remember if I said what my intentions were in terms of where to go next, but we are headed to the Grand Caymans. However, in studying the range of this aircraft, my beloved 343 Whiskey Bravo Dare TBM 930. It's about 1,200 miles from San Antonio to the Grand Caymans, apparently well within the range of this aircraft. But because of experiences I've had before where it claims to be able to reach a particular destination, and then I'm noticing fuel availability issues, I am electing to take a very short flight from San Antonio down to Corpus Christi, just to shave another 100 miles off our distance, the distance between where we are, basically Texas and the Grand Caymans. Also, happily, this takes us outside of Cuban airspace, which maybe would have been interesting to see how the sim handles that. But a flight from Corpus Christi to Grand Cayman, based on my review of the navigational data, suggests that we would not have any issues with Cuban airspace. So in any event, we are all configured for takeoff. I decided to spare you the taxi and engine startup procedures. Vertical speed's already pre-entered at 1,800 feet per minute. Autopilot obviously not activated, but this is entered onto the BS. Nav mode is on. Nav source is FMS, the flight management system. So we're going to take off. Flaps are set to take off. So we're going to take off, and then once we're stable on our climb out, we'll activate the autopilot, which will assume an 1,800-foot climb out, take us up to 8,000 feet, which is what ATC cleared us up to. A flight cruising altitude is 10,000. I filed a low altitude IFR plan since it's so close to Corpus Christi. So this is a short flight for sure. So we're ready to go. We've just been cleared for takeoff, so we'll activate all our lights, and inertial separators on, pitot heats are activated, airplane's pressurized, fuel selectors of automation, and we are good to go as far as I can tell. So let's taxi out. Took a little peek out there off to the left, and not seeing any inbound aircraft, so always reassuring. Weird how it wants me to turn left, even though the takeoff runway is essentially to the right. So we will use our rudder pedals. And there we are. And of course, if you were with my last video, this is where we landed last night with great drama. However, successfully. Alright. All set up. We'll sync our heading bug. I always try to do this, sync the heading bug to our current heading, so that if everything goes to shit on takeoff, I can always activate the autopilot, activate the HDG, and it will just fly our runway heading. All right, let's do this. Short flight to Corpus Christi. Wind. go. Positive rate, gear up. Flaps retracted. Activate the autopilot.
Airtree Whiskey Bravo contact San Antonio departure on 125.7.
Going to 125.7, Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Airspeed's increasing.
San Antonio departure, Docker November Tree
Always good.
Tree Whiskey Bravo is at 1,500
Don't want to worry about a
feet,
stall on
climbing
climb out.
8,000 feet.
Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo San Antonio departure continue as planned. Altimeter 29.
Engine's a little hot. That's what that was. My flight controller has a really sensitive throttle tab, unfortunately, so I have to be pretty mindful of that. We're going to activate our FLC at this point. We're at 180 knots on climb out. FLC will maintain that speed irrespective of the vertical speed. In other words, it focuses on the climb out speed as opposed to the rate of climb. Whenever you activate the FLC, I've noticed it overreacts dramatically for a second or two. Turn off our initial separator. Really no need for the pitot heat at this point. I'll deactivate those. Monitor our weather. If it becomes necessary to activate them, reactivate them, I will. Turn off our landing lights. Obviously not needed. Getting a heat warning indicator. Actually, our torque percentage at 109, 110. So you see, all I did was move my throttle controller a tiny bit, and it dropped dramatically. I've noticed that the torque percentage is much more responsive at lower altitudes. Anyway, you can see we are hauling ass up to 8,000. Probably could have asked, you know what, I'm going to ask for a higher flight, higher cruising altitude. Take it up to 14,000. I know it's a short flight,
San Antonio
but
departure,
Jesus.
Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
This thing's like a rocket.
14,000 feet.
Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Expect 14,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Expect 14,000 feet. Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
This thing's like a rocket the way it takes off. FLC is somehow got deactivated.
Climb and maintain 14,000 feet.
Interesting. A little
Climb and
problem.
maintain 14,000 feet. Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Reactivate our vertical speed. Increase our climb rate. What happened is we reached our cruising altitude and the FLC disengaged. We need to decrease our climb speed to
Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo contact
190.
on ONE 20.6.
Found that to be an
120.6
adequate
Docker Tree Whiskey
speed
Bravo.
at
Houston Center, Docker
climb
November
out.
Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is at 9,100 feet, climbing 14,000 feet.
Air November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo Houston Center continue to ends as planned.
This thing just, I was going to say it flies. That's funny. It just is a rocket. I mean, when I was setting up the weight and balance info at the setup screen, I knew I didn't need much fuel. for a flight like this. I just used the default weight settings, 2 people, 170 pounds. That's what I weigh. And I guess I've got my twin on board with me. Or maybe a skinnier, thinner twin with her baggage. Anyway, the plane's light. That's my way of saying the plane's light. It's going to be a very short flight. I realize we're, what, 11 minutes in. But move right along. We're going to level out at 14,000 here in a second. Specifically, we're climbing at almost 2,000 feet per minute, and we're at 12,000 feet, so you do the math. I think we'll level out in about 60 seconds. I think they advise anti-icing protocols anytime the OAT, outside air temperature, is below 10 degrees. I'll keep an eye on things, but I'm sorry, these just do not look like icing conditions. About to level out here at 14,000. Gonna haul ass down to Corpus Christi.
Air Tree Whiskey Bravo, contact Houston Center on 134.6.
134.6 for Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Got a little tailwind. Very little.
Center Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is climbing through 13,700 feet for 14,000 feet.
Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Houston Center. Continue to YENN as planned.
I don't know if I could have done this flight VFR or not. There's clouds. Not much in the way of clouds, but I've given myself a IFR license. Whether I deserve it or not. So we are leveled out now at 14,000. Really, I mean, we're 4 flights giving me the ATIS destination frequency 126.8. I already checked the METARs for Corpus Christi. Which show winds from the south-southwest at 200 degrees at 12 knots. Excuse me, 10 knots, 12 miles an hour. 10 miles visibility. Ceiling's 12,000 feet AGL, and a few clouds at 3,300, and scattered clouds at 4,200, scattered clouds at 5,500 AGL. No significant weather observed. So, hey, famous last words, but I think this should be a relatively drama-free, quick flight from San Antonio down to Corpus Christi. Just doing this to shave a couple of miles off of that flight to the Grand Cayman, which I may or may not do today. One of the things that complicates my life is that I insist on flying in real time with real weather, which is fine except for the fact that I live in LA, Southern California, and so if I'm on the East Coast, everything's 3 hours ahead. And well, you saw last night the drama, unnecessary or otherwise, associated with a nighttime approach into a airport with which I'm unfamiliar. Might as well enter our ILS frequency. In fact, we need to enter our ILS frequency 110.3. 103. Obviously, we're too far from the airport to be receiving any data as it relates to the ILS, but we'll get it as we approach. We'll enter our minimums as well. We have a 400-foot barometric minimum at Corpus Christi. I don't think there's going to be anything in the nature of that in terms of minimums being an issue. Activated bearing 1 on nav1, no data, just as I said. I'm not going to have any ILS data this far out, but we are just about 4.5 minutes from our next waypoint, and about 17 minutes from landing. That's the estimated time en route to our destination, getting to my ForeFlight app. Now, I've noticed, obviously, that that's an underestimation, right? It says 16 minutes right now. It's going to be more than that, probably not much, maybe 18, 20 minutes tops. Why? Well, because the aircraft's going to slow down as it approaches. The estimated time en route is based on how fast you're going, obviously. Actually, glad we selected 14,000. We're above clouds based on the METAR, probably about 2,000 feet above the clouds. No turbulence. Smooth air. Which is always nice. Yesterday's flight from Jackson Hole down to San Antonio, first third of it was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I mean, we were all over the place. Torque percentage right now is 94, so engine's working. Plenty of fuel for such a short flight. But it can burn fuel at quite a rate. For whatever reason, I'm trying to find the gallons per hour. Where's the GPH? 36 in the left tank, 36 in the right. I'm staring at it, aren't I? I'm going to watch this later and then wonder why I couldn't see it. Anyway, oh, there it is, GPH. I told you I was staring right at it. GPH, 56 gallons per hour. But we're only 14 minutes from our destination, so no issues with gas. And it made us nice and light on takeoff. Anyway, enough of me talking. It's a good opportunity to review the Texas plains. Texas is very flat. At least East Texas is. I've only ever landed at DFW at Dallas Fort Worth, and then only for on a layover. But it's very flat. It's also gigantic. Let's take a look outside. What do you say? Oh, nice old lake out there. Or river or lake. No, let me zoom in here on my ForeFlight app. What is that? Apparently there's a river. Arascosa River. Arascosa. Never heard of it. And it's a virtual certainty I'll never see it. Basically paralleling the Highway 37, just a county road. Just looking at my ForeFlight app. I know nothing about this area, but Highway 37 appears to be a pretty big road from up in Pleasant in Texas down to where we're going. Corpus Christi. About to make a left turn, or in the middle of a left turn. We're above one of our waypoints, THX, Tango Hotel X-Ray. Listing just 12 minutes now to Corpus Christi. Nice day. Nice day. Out here in East Texas. Just been watching some of the YouTube videos, reading the forums about some issues that have been coming up. This probably won't show up, but they've talked about graininess in the reflections. Talk about a first world problem, right? Graininess in the reflections. I don't know, I think the reflections look fine, but apparently people are bitching about it. So I think that is on the list of things to be addressed. I, for one, think that the patch, the second patch update was really, really good. Really useful, helpful. I was most thrilled with the correction of the winds aloft bug, which may be inside baseball, but it was enough to drive you crazy. I mean, you're 30,000 feet and there's no wind. Well, specifically.
Whiskey Bravo, you are 40 miles northwest. Descend and maintain 9,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 13 approach via skid transition.
All right.
Clear to skid.
Okay, very good.
Geometry Whiskey Bravo, descend and maintain 1,700 feet.
Boy, they don't mess around.
Descend and maintain 1,700 feet. Expect ILS runway 13 approach via skids transition. Clear to skids. Dr. Trey Whiskey Bravo.
So via skids transition, take a look. I don't remember what I was saying. I'm old. I forgot. Skids. Via skids. So this is where we're going, from skids to CFCGW, then Jagru, Jagru, Sevis, at which we need to be at 1,700 feet, and to which we've already been cleared. So this should be, knock on wood, a nice, smooth, simple approach. Increase our descent rate slightly, 1,400 feet. Oh, I remember what I was talking about. I think it was about patch 2 and people complaining, and I don't know. There's definitely still things that need fixing, no question about it. But on balance, it's remarkably stable. At least on my system, it's remarkably stable. I mean, these are first world problems, but the stuff that bugs me is, you know, it's more annoying than it is something that compromises my ability to play the game. Like when it says contact tower at ONE 28.5. I mean, somehow somebody forgot to press enter somewhere and it's reading the number 1 as ONE. I mean, but that's little stuff. Who cares? People get so hysterical about this stuff. Anyway, looks like we're going to have a nice flight. About only 8 minutes from our destination now. I shouldn't say we're going to have a nice flight, because it's when I say that we'll frickin' plunge out of the sky. But 14,000 feet was a good cruising altitude. Weren't there for long, but should be a nice approach into Corpus Christi. I'm such a square that I actually look at and for hotels.
Geometry Bravo, descend and maintain 2,100 feet.
You see what I mean? See how this stuff happens? What'd she clear me down
Descend and
to?
maintain 2,100 feet.
1,700,
Whiskey
remember?
Bravo.
Remember? I remember. She
Delta
cleared...
3 Whiskey Bravo, contact Corpus approach on LNE 24.8.
Anyway, you understand. She
124
cleared me down to
Delta 3 Whiskey
1,700,
Bravo.
and then now she's cleared me down to 2,100. So, but these are just little
Approach
bugs.
Delta November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is at 9,900 feet, descending 2,100 feet.
About 7.5 minutes now from landing.
Delta November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Corpus approach, continue to CFCDW as planned.
Continue to
Altimeter 29.85.
CFCDW. Continue, and that's where we're headed. 2985 on the barometer. We'll adjust that. 2985. Got it. Do the same thing on our reserve indicator. Ah, Texas. Vast expanses of nothingness. I'm assuming these are just farms. Farms, farms, and more farms. Glad we got good weather for this short flight. Zoom in on our MFD here a little bit. Just 68 seconds from CFCDW. Descending nicely to 2100 as instructed. Slow our descent, not our descent rate, but we'll pull back on the throttle a little bit. Lose a little speed. This is a straight in approach. If you see, here we are. There's the airport. I mean, it's just a boom. There's not going to be a lot of time to screw around. So the TBM already has issues in terms of being a rocket. A real rocket man. Like Kim Jong-un. So we don't want to be going too fast too late in the game because it'll affect our ability to deploy our flaps, put our gear down if we're just hauling ass. We're at 6,700 right now. Thank you, Sid. Sorry, my daughter just brought me some food. Isn't that sweet of her? You heard me say thank you. It looks like it's a piece of watermelon and like a little tapa. I don't know, it looks good. I'm starving. I went on a bike ride this morning, 33 miles. I haven't had any solid food since dinner last night, and it's 11:42 in the morning. Anyway, we are now 2 minutes 25 seconds. 2 minutes 21 seconds from our next waypoint, Jagru. And don't forget, our waypoint, Sevis, right here. At Sevis, at that waypoint we need to be at 1,700 feet, which I don't think we'll have any problems being in. In as much as we're now 2 minutes from Jagru. 2 minutes from Jagru. And in fact, take a look. I don't know if you can see it, but I see a runway. We'll sink our heading bug. Don't think we're gonna have any issues with missed approaches, but if we do, it's manageable in this type of terrain. We are basically on final right now to Corpus Christi. As I mentioned, it's just straight in. Try to bleed off a little airspeed. Activate our inertial separator. Just 4 minutes now from touchdown. Probably end up being more like 6 since we're slowing down, but I gotta bleed off some airspeed because coming in hot. This is nice. This was a nice flight, a nice, simple. Maybe I ought to do more of these short, short flights. It's easier to deal with weather issues. Just do a short 100-mile flight. I mean, this is just a 100-mile flight. Half an hour.
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo, you are 14 miles northwest of Corpus. Contact Corpus Tower on 119.4 when inbound.
Alright. Contact tower.
Tower on 119.4 Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo. Corpus Tower, Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, 13 miles northwest inbound ILS runway 13 approach.
Good.
Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Corpus Tower. Cleared ILS runway 13 approach. Altimeter 29.85.145 at 20.
Okay, so we are
Corpus Tower, Docker
leveled off now at
Tree 4 Tree
2100.
Whiskey Bravo, inbound ILS
We
runway
do have the
13
ILS, if you see here. Listing is 12 miles, ICRP. So we'll activate the approach. And we'll change FMS to NAV1.
Altimeter 29.85.185 at 19.
Everything looks good.
Cleared ILS runway 13 approach Docker Tree
Airspeed
Whiskey
150
Bravo.
and dropping. Clear for the ILS approach. We do have glide slope. I'm waiting for this to turn to green, but we're under the glide slope apparently, which is what I would expect. And just remember, we know that we need to be at 1,700 feet at sevens, and right now we're at 2,100 feet, so it's not surprising that we're not being forced to confront any glide slope problems, because we know we're not too high and we know we're not too low. It's about 3 minutes now from landing. I might as well activate our landing lights. Runway in front of us. Still waiting to grab the glide slope, however, and I do notice that it's dropping. So we're going to put
Landing gear.
our gear down, I should say. It has not grabbed the glide slope yet. No. Might have to. Oh, okay. There you go. I don't know if you saw that turn green. It grabbed it grabbed it. Beautiful. Okay. Getting a little nervous there. Time for another notch of, or for a notch of flaps. All looks good. Gear is down. I got 3 in the green right here. One more notch of flaps. Looks good. Airspeed's good. 92 knots. 89. Outer marker indicator. Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi out there to our left. Presumably that's the city. Airspeed's 84. That's perfect. AGL's 1400.
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo cleared to land runway 13. Wind 185 at 19. Cleared to land runway 13 Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo.
There it is. Glide slope still indicates we're good. See that green diamond? Tiny, tiny bit low, but nothing to worry about. The runway right in front of us. There it is. I see some red, a collection of red lights there, just to the left of the runway. Presumably the Vasi, indicating we're a tiny bit low, which is consistent with the green diamond right here. Airspeed's perfect, 84 knots, fully configured. Flaps fully deployed, landing gear down, flying over. 3 mile final little subdivision. There's a little red truck or something driving right there. That's kind of funny. Wow, look, there's a blue, well, there's a blue like semi. That's funny. Okay. All right, we're going to disengage the autopilot now. Airspeed is perfect. Well, actually, our minimums are 400, so let's just disengage the autopilot in a minute. Airspeed's good again, solid at 83, 84 knots. Flaps are fully deployed. Aircraft is completely configured for landing. Now 3.0. Says no correct. About 3 miles from the threshold. .600 feet above ground level. The airport's dead ahead. I've never been to Corpus Christi. 500 AGL. I've never been to Corpus Christi, but it looks a lot quieter than San Antonio. But it's convenient to be able to land here and head to the Grand Caymans eventually. Airspeed's perfect. Looks like we're going to pass over a freeway on final. I don't know if you see that. Big old highway. Still getting 2 reds on the Vasi. There they are. We're below minimums now, so I will disengage the autopilot. See if we can get red over white. What do you think? Hand flying the airplane right now. There goes that highway I was mentioning, just off to our left. On the left window there. I think I just saw it hit on collision. Airspeed's still good. Come on, give me your red and white. Middle marker indicator. There we go. Red and white. Runway 13. Confirmed. Oh, this is so nice. A nice low stress, casual, quick, easy flight down to Corpus Christi. Let's see if I can butter the landing. There we go. Oh, I got a little crosswind coming from the right. Let's exit left.
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo, turn next taxiway.
There we go. I don't know if it's
Delta
gonna
Tree Whiskey Bravo,
catch me.
contact ground on ONE 21.9er.
Let's stop here while we contact ground.
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Let's bring in our flaps. Turn off our landing lights. Turn off our pulse lights. And contact ground. Ground at 121.9. Taxi to parking. Not going to be here long.
Corpus ground, Dr.
With all due
November
respect
34
to
Whiskey Bravo, taxi
the
to
wonderful
parking.
people of Corpus Christi.
Air November 343 Whiskey Bravo, taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Alpha Bravo. Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha Bravo, Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo.
We head over to parking here. Gas up and head out to Grand Cayman here. Whether it's today or tomorrow, I don't know, but certainly this weekend. It's a long flight. It's about 1,000 miles, 1,100 miles. I've done that before. Just from Jackson Hole to San Antonio was about that. Other long flights I've done: Duluth, Minnesota to Boise. A couple other long ones. Oh, Anchorage to Renton. So anyway, I figured I could shave a few miles off And who am I kidding? I actually just wanted to fly. Cars in the parking lot over there. Interesting. Get over here to our parking space and then shut this baby down. 3 Whiskey Bravo yet again. Delivering us safely on a nice, very nice, uneventful, smooth, dare I say well executed, short flight from San Antonio, Texas to Corpus Christi, Texas. I don't know why they're taking us all the way out here. God, this seems silly to go all the way up here. I just saw the parking space off to the right. I'm not supposed to go this fast on the taxiway, but this is how you respond to bad AI. Fuck them. Alright, let's hit the brakes here a little bit. Use those rudder pedals. And turn one more time. Stay off the grass there. Corpus Christi, I think, what does that mean? Body of Christ, I think, in Latin. Never been there. Right on the Gulf, though. Right on the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so here it's going to have us pass through an airplane and a fire truck. How about we take the initiative here and avoid that? What do you think? Oh, God. You gotta love them. But then again, you know, this is what I'm talking about. Some people just lose their minds over little errors like this, and they go on the forums and they rant and they rave and they go crazy. God damn it, I paid money for this. It should be perfect. I don't know. Maybe I'm just soft on crime, but I just don't see it's a big deal. Okay. Let's make our turn. As usual, we're getting conflicting instructions here, but there's Gary, so hopefully he gives me a... Okay, good. Go to the right. Excellent. That was splendid. I don't do many
Warning, okay.
full flights. A, because I know no one watches them, but B, because I assume any rational person would think they're boring. But I figured this was such a short one. And, you know, there's been so much drama in some of my flights, that I figured it might be nice just to have a flight that was not quite so crazy. My definition of crazy, obviously different than others, but I like it when things go to plan. And this was a perfectly executed flight that went smooth as, dare I say, butter. Okay, we got everything shut down. Engines are all cut off, fuel flaps up, lights. Lights are now off. AP trims off, fuel selector back to manual, aux BP, boost pump down is off, and that's it. So, okay, 44 minutes, short flight. To the people who will never see this, which is everyone, I hope you enjoyed it.